There was a show that ran intermittently for about 50 years or so. It was called Candid, hosted by Alan Funt. It was called this for a very good reason, because the entire premise of the show was that poor, unsuspecting bystanders would be consistently sabotaged by prankster actors, or they would encounter some sort of protracted difficulties with a trick prop, and to the point of frustration and boiling over with rage or complete and utter befuddlement or whatever. And it was a good laugh for the audience. And at the point of frustration, the actor would usually tap the poor person on the shoulder and point at the camera and say, "Smile, you're on Candid Camera." And I think this goes to prove a very important point, and that's that you are only completely natural on camera insofar as you're completely unconscious of being on camera. And I'm making this point, I feel I need to make this point, out of frustration and sort of in response to a whole host of individuals who seem to think that being quote-unquote real is a real virtue when recording yourself, and being fake is a real, quote-unquote fake, is a real vice. And by real, I think these people mean being purely spontaneous and speaking without preparation or too much thought, really. These people in general claim that you should speak as if you were talking to someone in real life. The problem with that is that this isn't a conversation, it's a monologue. And there's no response to your commentary, no matter how natural it may seem to you. Because of the fact that you are so forcefully aware of the fact that your every word is being recorded, you are more conscious of every misstep, every mistake. Thus, almost no one who wishes to make a point or communicate with people over the internet in recorded videos, almost no one who wishes to be understood with some sort of clarity would speak into the camera without any preparation whatsoever, or to speak without even knowing what they're going to be talking about. Yet this is how most quote-unquote real conversations develop. That is how most standard impromptu conversations evolve. There's rarely any planning ahead of time, knowing what the topic will be about, and there's certainly no editing sight unseen so that people aren't even aware, or people are only marginally aware of the fact that you had to alter your entire train of thought. And even if you were to make an exclusively extemporaneous, off-the-cuff video as natural as possible, you would still be aware of the fact that ultimately you are speaking independently of anyone else's input, and you're speaking with the intent of having a conversation sometime down the road, not immediately. And so I think this necessarily precludes pure spontaneity, and I think it's largely a good thing, because most conversations tend to be rather aimless and boring. They drift languidly from hazy thought to hazy thought, with no real destination in mind. And this can be fun as well, but there's no avoiding that it's a completely distinct mode of communication. What we're doing is not a casual conversation. It's a series of monologues recorded privately, sent out, and responded to publicly. The quality of the content differs with each video as it does with each conversation, but the fact remains that we are all speaking to ourselves before we're ever speaking to each other. That's how it is, and I think that's how it should be in terms of recording videos. It's silly to pretend to replicate a purely casual, interactive, spontaneous conversation when that's not at all what's occurring, and it's not what should be occurring. So let's stop bullshitting ourselves for just a moment and be a little bit more fake. That's the only honest thing to do.